Hello and welcome. My name's Leanne. I live in Australia and this is my crafty cupboard.
Welcome back, everyone. These are my episodes on Roxy's Journal of Stitchery Volume 4. The prompt this time was favourite fabric. And I'm already using some of my favourite fabrics to make a Victorian sewing box. So this time I'm going to make a small pin cushion using this lovely linen that was an offcut from doing my monogram. And I'm going to use a different fabric for the petals around the outside. So I'm just drawing up a circle to get started. I'm going to cut two of these. So I'm just pinning the fabric together. It's doubled over. So my pin cushion is just going to be a mini version of that big one you could see on the screen before, and it's to hold these little mini appliqué pins that I'm using quite a lot now in my work. So I'm just trimming about 1/4 inch outside the circle because I'll be sewing on the circle line to get a nice circle shape. So in making this pin cushion, you actually sew all the way around. You don't leave an opening for turning, and later we'll cut a slit in the underside. I'm using this strong thread to sew it together so it can stand up to me stuffing it very firmly. And I'm just using backstitch right along the circle edge to sew it all together. Okay, so I'm going to carry on sewing this all the way around, and I'll be back when I'm ready to show you the next step. Okay, so the petals around the outside are just half circles sewn together. I used some offcuts, and I'm just using a thick crochet hook to turn them in. Just running the hook along the seam, try and get it as smooth as possible. A little bit poking out there, just stick it back in. So I stitched these using backstitch as well. So that's one petal done. Just going to a small hook, try and get it round. Okay, so now with the circle, I've ironed interfacing on the side I'm going to cut just to make it stronger because linen can fray quite easily. And I'm simply going to cut a straight line right through the centre, one side only, don't cut right through the other side. And just have to make that cut big enough to be able to turn it in the right way. So this cut will, once it's been stuffed, will be sewn back together, and it will be the part that attaches to the sewing box. So you don't see it. On my freestanding version, the big pink one at the start, I put felt. I stitched felt to the back of it so you couldn't see the scar where the material had been cut and resewn. Yeah, so once again, just smooth it out using a very big crochet hook. Because the small skinny one, would poke through if you were doing this with it. There we go. Ready to stuff. So I'm just using some toy filling, and again using the big thick crochet hook to stuff it very firmly. Okay, so time to sew it together. Again, I'm using that really strong thread, and I'm using ladder stitch. So ladder stitch is where you go across the seam and then take a small stitch parallel to the seam up the side, then go directly across the seam again. You want to make sure your stitches that are going across the seam are all parallel and lining up really straight, and that's what will make the seam close up to be sort of invisible. I'm just using the hook every now and again to push the filling back so I can actually squeeze and close the seam together. Alright, so I stitch parallel with the seam and then across the seam, parallel, go across. Take a stitch parallel with the seam, run the thread across the seam. So you're just really alternating sides, taking stitches parallel as you go, but making sure those stitches across are nice and straight, not at an angle. And so push it all in, the stuffing in, and pull it up firmly so it all closes together. Time to knot that off. Righto, so now it's time to turn it into a flower, make it look like a flower. So you're going to come up with a really strong thread through the centre. You can see I've wrapped the thread around and gone back in the centre and up through the same hole. So we've got the thread sitting over the edge. Just adjusting things and pull it up tight. Same thing again, wrap your thread around so that you're coming up from the bottom through to the top in the centre. Pull it firmly. And then pull those threads tight. At this point I'm just taking a little anchoring stitch back down just to sort of hold those threads tightly that I've already pulled. Just gently shape the outsides as you go to make them as round as possible. Okay, so now you can see again I'm going with my thread wrapping around and then back down the centre and pulling firmly Sorry for going off camera. I needed to pull it closer to see what I was doing. So around. I just want to fix the shape a bit. Down the centre. So I'm just going to keep doing that until I've made all the divisions to turn the round circle shape into like a flower shape, sort of making the petals, if you like. So if you think about the flower as being like half of the flower, we'll have 2 lines to divide that half into 3 petals. So we've got 6 petals altogether. It sort of involves wrapping this around 6 times to make those shapes. Okay, so we've got the little pin cushion ready and its little sort of contrast petals. Just want to gather these in a little bit actually. I'm just going to do a little running stitch. Actually sewing this the wrong way. For my hand, I mean. I'll just flip it. It's been a tough project on the hands, this one. A lot of hard layers to get the needle through. Very grateful for having out my little flannelette. I actually grabbed the flannelette out. It's sitting there ready to make a couple of leaves, perhaps, for this. We'll see how we go once I've put the petals on, if I want the leaves as well. It's really starting to come together, this sewing box. I feel like this project might be over before we know it. Wonder what our next prompt will be. I've used a lot of the prompts on the insides of the box at the moment, so I'm hoping the next prompt might prompt a thought in my brain for using the outside pieces of the box, because I've only got the monogram on the outside so far. Oh, which side do I want? That's quite pretty too. I've got balls there, so I might do the little flowery bits on this one. Just flip it and use that side. So other projects I've got going in the background. I'm still working on my Japanese beading project, the little macaron case. I have a baby blanket in wool that I've again picked up the kit secondhand from a thrift store and thought, well, that would be a lovely thing to sit and work on. I'm crocheting a scarf and I feel like I should hurry up, otherwise I won't get to wear it this winter, because our days are already getting quite warm. Well, that's been a very cold day again today. I still want to do my catch up or try and complete a few more of the stitches that Christine's been showing us. In the stitch along. I feel like I need to be a bit more disciplined with that than I have been. It's just been sitting in my mind going, yes, must catch up on that, must do that. want to do that. Righto. Right, so we join it back onto where we started. Okay, so now my thinking is I will just gather these up until they're, hidden under the centre of the little thing, but not so far that we can't see them. All right, so maybe just a little more on that one. Oh, that's very sweet. Might leave it at that. This one's not gathered properly at the moment, but it will be, because what I'm going to do is tie this off and then spread things out. I'm going to leave the thread attached as well while I do that, just in case we have any breakage or it's not tight enough after all and I want to tighten it. I'm just spreading those around so they're a bit more evenly gathered. I think that's it. Oh, that's sweet. Yes, I like that very much. All right, do we think 2 leaves is enough, or would 3 be nicer? This one's a little bit thicker. Let's just trim him down a little. I'm planning to stitch on it, and I was just thinking to myself, maybe I should have stitched it before I cut them out. I've never done that before. That would probably, be easier to hold and whatnot. You could probably put them in a frame. It's very flimsy material. That's why I was thinking maybe it would have been better to stitch first. Maybe a piece of felt might have been better after all. That's what I'm used to using for this sort of thing. A bit sturdier. I'm probably a bit close. Have I been on camera? If I stayed in focus. I'll finish this one and I'll zoom out for the next one. That's been the trouble with the zooming in, is the camera just switches focus constantly, which is annoying to watch, I know. Once again, it's got a little tangle in the back. Oh, it came through good. I thought I was going to have to do the shh. It's a secret between us again. No one will know. Okay, so I'm going to stitch the third one, embellishment, and come back. So stitching the outer petals down onto the backing piece. I'm just using a running stitch all the way around to secure those petals down. I'm sort of stitching where the pincushion will overlap and hide these raw edges in the middle and the little stitches. So I've gone all the way around, knot that off. All right, little pin cushion. I'm so keen for this tiny pin cushion for my tiny pins. I think I'll be putting it into use even before the box is ready. Just start using this one straight away. So it'll be well used by the time the box gets put together. Righto, now I've left the strong thread attached. We just need a good needle. Oh, perfect. I need to get tweezers. Do a couple. Let's tie this off. And then we're going to get the glue so we can stick it to its backing board. This time I'm going to try and remember to cut the corners off first, just to eliminate some bulk. I have a chalk outline of roughly where the cardboard will go. Oh, that's right. I wanted to sew a little piece of ribbon there to hang on to cotton reels and things. I remembered in the last minute. Should we make it blue or mauve? Yeah, a bit lower. Lower. That was an anticlimax. Let's try again. So then the ribbon behind will be flat. So then what happens? You'd feed a long end through. I think it'll need a bead on it to facilitate the pulling through. So it can just fall through. And then we'll tie a little bow. And because it's held firm on the cardboard, I think that will work. Just to reinforce the holes. Lined up. And I put some on the corners to reinforce those corners. Then first, oops, I did push it a bit then. Because I have no idea whether this will be a durable workbox and if it will last in time or if the elements will fall apart. I'm just enjoying the experimenting and the process. And I mean, the fact is anyway that things don't last the test of time. We are impermanent. It is the way of things. This is really sweet. I'm enjoying this a lot. And the last side. Let's glue it down. Corner. And tied up. Corner. It's not as tight as I would like it. Okay. there before it dries out. Oh, what a sweeping caution. Now, little beads on the ends just to make it sort of heavier so it'll drop through. Maybe these ones. Good. Do you think I can just knot it? And I might just try and thread that back through. Oops, might have cut it too short. Definitely cut it too short. Can I just poke it? Wow, not here or not. Yep, we'll be here all night. So instead, I'm going to trim it even smaller, but not all the way. So what I'm thinking is that will make it easier to thread it through. I guess the weight of it now will let it drop. It's not much easier. Oh, yes, it is. It should be properly held by now. I can't do it. I want to play. I'm going to get my little pins. My little pins. They get very lost in there. Big pin cushion. short for symmetry. It's excellent, and of course the cardboard stops anything going through too far. It's the little pin cushion. And the thread being held that I'll be using for the project. I'm so happy with that. Let's see, so we've got, and so I've already filmed episodes, if you haven't seen them, of stitching the monogram, which is on the outside of the box, and the little needle book, and bead packet holder, and the scissor keep. And now I have the little pin cushion. I found an extra pin to hold it. So I'm really, really enjoying this project. If you haven't seen these others being made, do go back and check my earlier videos. But I can't wait to put the whole box together. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time.